What happened at the 2025 British GP was simply unbelievable. On one of the most iconic Formula One circuits, the traditional Silverstone asphalt was transformed into a truly chaotic battlefield, dominated by treacherous rain, unexpected accidents, and plot twists worthy of an action movie, like the one recently released starring Brad Pitt. And in the midst of all this madness, three names shone spectacularly. Lando Norris won at home with authority. Oscar Piastri starred in an epic battle, and Nico Hulkenberg, yes, that's right, finally broke the curse and achieved his first career podium after 239 races. So stay until the end, like and subscribe. A real one thriller on the track, worthy of a blockbuster script, extreme weather conditions, and a tense atmosphere among drivers. Since the early hours of Sunday, heavy rain has hit the circuit, even forcing the postponement of supported sessions, as we saw with the cancellation of the FIA F3 race due to the storm on the morning of Silverstone. The Met Office itself issued a storm warning for the East England region, making it clear that the rain would not just be a detail, it would be the invisible protagonist of the race. The formation lap was done behind the safety car due to the still very wet track. The grid started on intermediate tires, most of them due to the wet track. Only a few brave ones bet on slicks in the formation, in a high-risk move. The atmosphere was charged, winds of 44 kilometers per hour, chance of rain around 55 to 60%. Charles Leclerc, Oliver Bearman, Isaac Hadjar, George Russell, and Gabriel Bortolito all pitted to swap their wet tires for other compounds. Verstappen got off to a very good start, managing to protect himself from a possible attack from Oscar Piastri, while Lando Norris also maintained third position. And as Silverstone loves an unpredictable event, it didn't take long for it to have a safety car. On the second lap, Liam Lawson spun and caused the first virtual safety car after being hit by the Haas of Esteban Ocon, who warned that he had problems with his car. With a lot of spray, Hamilton tried to strike Norris in the last sector before the virtual safety car came in. Taking advantage of the decrease in speed, Andrea Kimi Antonelli entered the pits to put on hard tires. At the same time that the green flag was waved again, Bortolito spun on his medium tire and broke the rear wing and decided to return to the pits, putting an end to the Brazilian's race. Piastri took the lead on lap 8, making good use of DRS and McLaren's surprising pace. Meanwhile, Norris was trying to close the 3-second gap to the top two, while maintaining a lead of almost 4 seconds over Hamilton. On lap 11, Verstappen made a mistake on his lap and allowed Norris to overtake him, who took second place and went into the pits to change tires, but kept the wet ones. In the pits, the four-time champion got the better of him and managed to get ahead of the Briton Dot on lap 14. The safety car was deployed due to extremely heavy rain on the track. At that point, Piastri was 13 seconds ahead of the rest of the field, but he gradually lost the advantage as his speed slowed. Just before the safety car, Leclerc went off the track, completely missing the line and going onto the grass. The driver explained that a drop of water got into his eye and hindered him. At the restart, Piastri almost crashed into Verstappen, but managed to accelerate and started to create a lot of spray in the Dutchman's cockpit. But the disputes in fact remained with the back group, with Hamilton and Russell trying to recover the positions they lost with the stop. Isaac Hadjar went off at the cop's corner and ended up crashing, forcing Racing Bulls to abandon the stage with both of its cars. At the same time, Andrea Kimi Antonelli also almost lost his car due to the very slippery track. On the second restart, Piastri accelerated before braking too hard, being placed under investigation for almost colliding with Verstappen, who spun and lost several positions, dropping to 10th. Oscar was given a 10-second penalty for not following the safety car rules. Antonelli also retired from the race. Nico Hulkenberg managed to stay in third place for a long time, overtaking Stroll and trying to defend himself from Hamilton, who had DRS activated. As the track began to dry, the tires began to wear out much faster. On lap 44, Piastri made his second stop, taking advantage of almost a minute's advantage over Hulkenberg to pay his 10-second penalty. Norris also took advantage of his lead to stop and take the lead. The German managed to hold on to third place, while Norris crossed the line in first, with Piastri soon after. Regarding the retirements, Franco Colapinto didn't even manage to start. The driver was going to start the race from the pits after changing his engine due to the crash during Q3. Lawson was hit by Ocon on the first lap, being forced to return to the pits without even being able to accelerate. Bortolito, in turn, crashed alone after spinning. Hadjar tried to avoid hitting Antonelli on lap 17, but hit the wall at Copse Corner and also went straight back to the garage. A few laps later, the Italian also took his car back in. Before I continue, leave a like and subscribe to the channel so that the YouTube algorithm recommends this video, and let's go. And it was in this scenario of unpredictability and climatic chaos that the true protagonist of the weekend emerged, Lando Norris, who started in third position. At home, in front of a sea of British fans, the McLaren driver managed the pressure like a seasoned veteran. But his victory was not built on a single magical lap or a moment of luck. It was, above all, the result of accurate strategic decisions, an accurate reading of the track, and, above all, an enviable emotional control in the face of the chaos that was ravaging Silverstone. While many were flustered by the changes in weather or made mistakes at the time of their pit stops, Norris maintained an implacable composure that, lap after lap, led him straight to the top of the podium. In addition to the technical aspect and the impact on the championship, it is impossible to ignore the symbolism of this victory. Silverstone is a historic track, the birthplace of Formula One, and winning there has a special meaning for any driver, especially a British one. Lewis Hamilton did it several times, Damon Hill did it too, Nigel Mansell became a legend. And now, Lando Norris joins this select group, writing his name in the history of the category in front of a crowd that cheered as if it were a world title. Oscar Piastri had everything he needed to secure his sixth victory in 12 stages in the 2025 season, and at Silverstone he seemed to be on his way to that triumph in a masterful manner. However, as he was caught braking abruptly on the main straight just after the safety car lights went out, an action that almost resulted in an accident for Verstappen, who had to swerve and then spun. The FIA imposed a 10-second penalty for breaching Article 55.15, which prohibits erratic deceleration after the safety car. Verstappen wasted no time. "They nearly collided," he said, putting pressure on the stewards. The Australian received the news with evident frustration. Despite this, Piastri maintained an impeccable performance until the end. He crossed the line in second, 6.8 seconds behind Norris. Now let's talk about a guy who has been deserving of a place on the podium for a long time, Nico Hulkenberg. He started the Silverstone GP, starting in 19th place. When Norris crossed the line, followed by Piastri with his penalty served, Hulkenberg confirmed it. A big smile, a spontaneous gesture on the radio, and contained emotion echoed through the Sauber headphones. He had just achieved his first podium after the 239th race, ending the title of driver with the most non-podium starts in the history of the category. The team, meanwhile, was celebrating its first trophy since the 2012 Japanese GP, with Kobayashi at the time, a milestone that strongly announces Audi's future in F1. On the radio, a visibly emotional and surprised Hulkenberg said, "It's been a long time coming, hasn't it? Quite incredible." A veteran revealed all the emotional burden accumulated over so many years in F1, a mix of relief, joy, and validation. He, who was considered a talented driver without trophies, finally found himself among the top 3 on the grid. But tell me, what did you think of this video? Comment below because I want to know your opinion, and leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything.